pro pivot. I hope for us that what we get to do every time we pivot is collect a greater bucket of humans, resources, creativity to go deploy human creativity and resources into the world.
That was actress and director Sophia Bush talking pivots in a brand new podcast about women making major life changes. It's called She Pivots, and it's hosted by Tisch Sussman in partnership with Marie Claire. Emily, I'm so excited that you're here. You just said you have not been in studio in 2 years?
No, the last time I was in this studio, I was definitely 9 months pregnant with my third kid. And I thought, see you on the other side of this pregnancy, guys. And then 3 weeks later, we were locked down. So it's nice to see you.
COVID took your beer, right?
Yeah, exactly. Minor. We've been on some Zooms since then.
So in this podcast, you're talking with all sorts of dynamic women, and I want to ask you about some of them. But first, we just heard from Sophia Bush. Tell us a little bit more about her story.
Sophia Bush is really well known as an actress, starting with One Tree Hill on Good Sam Now. But what people don't know about her story is that she's actually a pretty prolific investor. Not just an investor, but a business. Yes, a business owner herself.
Love that.
She and her best friend and business partner, Nia Batts, who's the other guest, you see her on the screen now. They opened a hair salon in Detroit called Detroit Blows in about 2018 because when they were traveling around together, they realized they couldn't get their hair done together. So they saw an open market because white women and black women couldn't get their hair done in the same salons. They became the keynote speakers at the Forbes Women's Summit. They had this incredible business model. Pandemic hits. They decided to shut down their business. And instead of reopening it or finding a way to reopen, they decided to take the knowledge they had gained as business owners themselves and as investors to make sure they were getting equity and money and capital to women starting companies in every industry all over the country. So the show is really about women who took something that was a difficult event in their lives and turned it into a positive. And Sophia and Nia are perfect examples of that.
I had no idea that Sophia Bush had done any of that. That is so cool. I don't want to give everything away, but anyone else you want to tease that you have lined up?
We have, well, I would say we have really interesting stories and a whole variety of pivots. We really want everyone to see themselves in it because everyone's been going through it and everyone's reevaluating what's important to them and everyone's trying to figure out, can there be something as good on the other side, maybe even better? So, you know, my story was that I've a political consultant for 15 years as a political strategist, 3 kids in 3 years in the pandemic.
In case you're looking at this face thinking, I know her from somewhere. I know her from somewhere.
It was maybe on this network with like slightly less purple hair. You know, but having 3 kids in 3 years in a global pandemic really killed my ability to be a super ambitious political strategist. So I'm rethinking what can be on the other side of it for me. But I also felt like it was important for women who are going through everything to see themselves in this show. So we have women who, you know, one woman found her long lost sister, having never known that she had a sister at all.
Oh my God.
They founded a wine company together. They're now the largest black-owned wine business in the world. We have a woman who was serving in the Navy, came out as trans, and which ended her Navy career. Then she became an ER nurse and then a lawyer. So, you know, women who have taken all of these things that were potentially adversity and really turning them and building on all of their experience to turn it into something incredible.
So I want to bring up a quote because you talk about your pivot and you say that your kids killed your career. I love this. And the quote specifically, like many moms, I struggle to find a balance between being the best possible mother and juggling a business, all while trying to keep my identity from fading into my children. After 2 years of ups and downs of COVID, I still grappled with finding those parts of myself that make me feel happy and successful. I feel like we have so many women sitting at home listening to me read your words at you and thinking, oh yeah, that's me.
Look, it's hard to find yourself when you have young children in under any circumstances. When you're locked in with them for 2 years and you're their teacher, their doctor, their playmate, their everything. Like, who am I anymore? Like, oh, am I a person that likes to, I feel like there were memes about this, you know, like to go out to dinner? I should probably find other parts of my personality. You know, like it just didn't exist anymore. So you could lose yourself in any of those pieces. And I think as we've all really figured out how to reprioritize and really what our identity is in all of this, it's going to be new. It's not going to be what it was before. I wasn't someone who was dying to have children. They kind of snuck up on me.
It's funny how that happens.
It's really amazing. And having 3 in 3 years just made me feel like there was nothing left of me. Like I was just the person who could who could create and then potentially keep alive children, whereas I used to be so tied to my identity as a political strategist. So finding the way those merged was extremely difficult for me, and hopefully we found a new way by uplifting stories of other women.
I love this. Listen, you are, so many women are looking to make life changes after the pandemic. Mothers, non-mothers. I mean, you are someone whom I went to and I was like, Emily, like, I need to shake it up. I need some help. And we chatted over several glasses of wine and you gave me some great advice and you were such a good listener. What advice do you have right now for someone who's sitting here thinking, I haven't made a pivot yet, but I know that my old life does not serve me anymore?
That letting go of that old life is going to help you. It's going to help you move into the next thing. Figuring out what actually not just makes us happy right now, but what we can actually access. Like the thing that I thought made me really good at working in politics is that I could work all hours and I can work on many things at once. Well, guess what? Those hours are gone, and that part of my brain is now managing 3 toddler schedules. So like that part of me is gone. But what is in for me now is that I know how to separate really easily in my mind. Like I can compartmentalize incredibly well, maybe in a way I didn't before. So I feel like, you know, for people thinking that like, oh, this thing took me back, it actually may be the thing that propels you forward into success you never even could have imagined.
Can I just say, too, I'm so into the purple hair. Like, why can't we have purple hair in politics?
Well, I mean, who knows? Now that, you know, Roe v. Wade's back in play, I may be getting back into politics, so could be the purple-haired me.
She pivots back.
She pivots.
I can't tell you how proud I am of you. I know how hard it is to make these changes. I know how we're all struggling to find ourselves again when we feel like we're lost in this. You are kicking A. This is just great, and I'm really excited to hear more of the podcast. It's so fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here. All right, and you can find Emily She Pivots wherever you get your podcasts.